Welcome to the Top Agent Podcast. We speak to top industry leaders in real estate and extract their insights to help you grow your business. This podcast is powered by Web for Realty, the leading provider in real estate marketing tools. As our way of saying thank you to our listeners, we're offering an exclusive 2-month free promo to the best IDX websites, CRM, and email marketing tools in the industry. Just go to topagentpromo.com to claim this exclusive discount, no strings attached. If you're looking to attract leads, build relationships, and close more deals, go to topagentpromo.com and get started. This episode is part of our On the Rise series where we feature new and up-and-coming agents that are starting out and making a name for themselves in the industry. Every top agent has to start somewhere, so we hope this series will give you fresh insights and ideas on how new agents are breaking through and making a splash in the industry. All right, I am very excited to introduce the next guest on the Top Agent Podcast. I'm speaking with Callum Moore. Callum is a real estate agent with eXp Realty in the Kitchener area of Ontario. He got his real estate license in the thick of the pandemic in 2020. Has since grown his business and has been committed to providing a ton of value to other realtors and clients. Callum has thousands of subscribers on YouTube, hundreds of thousands of views on his channel. So I'm excited to dig into his business, find out what's working for him and what he's working on. So Callum, great to have you on the Top Agent Podcast.
Thanks, man. Great to be here.
Awesome. So just for some context, I always like to ask the question for the audience just to paint the picture. So how many transactions or sales volume are you expected to do this year?
Okay. So the end of this month, or I should say the end of last month, will be 9 months in the industry. And it'll probably be about 2.7 million in sales, which I'm very happy about. But I did have a goal. I don't know if you've seen some of my videos, but there's a goal to do a conservative 5 million in my first year. But that's conservative as in I based it on a 2% commission. But realistically, I want to say that I'm 65 to 68% of the way to my goal in my first year.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. So you said you've been in real estate 9 months?
Yeah, just over. So basically 6 days over 9 months. My calendar year will be October 31st.
Okay,
2021.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect. So 2.7 mil so far in the 9 months. Very good.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
It could have been better, could have been worse, but yeah, I'll take it.
For sure. So, kick things off. Tell us a bit about yourself briefly and how you landed into real estate.
I want to say that, so if we just go from real estate, which is the best stuff because your audience, 3 months before getting my license in a partnership, basically on the digital marketing side, we grew a YouTube channel as well to over 7,000 subscribers. And it might even be, I can kind of confidently say that I think it's one of the best consumer YouTube channels there is. Because like other real estate agents didn't have me, if you know what I meant. But basically I had no plans of getting my real estate license until the pandemic hit. And I was like, okay, let's up my value, right? But that being said, nothing slowed down. I kind of anticipated things to slow down, but nothing did slow down. But I was like, okay, let's take this time to up my value and get my real estate license because you don't need that many sales and to a certain extent to make it more valuable. And then the people you can meet and the opportunities you can get with real estate, now that you know the digital marketing end very well, but you just have your license as well. And there was also another reason, there was a business reason why I got it, which is the brokerage I work for.
Yeah, got it. So very curious to hear more about why you decided to actually jump in and get your license during the pandemic, which seems kind of odd in a way.
I don't think it's going to be the nice or the most normal of responses, and it was 100% because my partnership failed. Yeah. So I would have stayed with this person for the rest of my life. They pulled the plug on me. So then for that time, when did it hit? So it hits in March And then for that like month, like we're doing what everyone else was doing. Myself and my girlfriend are just like sitting in parking lots. Like just you drive to parking lots to just chill. And I was like, okay, the game's so beatable. Real estate's so insanely beatable. What should I do? Right? Because I was like, I love digital marketing. I don't actually like being that. Like I don't like having my phone on my hip to a certain extent. I like having very controlled days. I'm up super early and everything's structured. But I was like, there's just so much money, and after 3 years in the game, there's just like it's a beatable. It's so beatable. So I was like, oh, how about this? I'll get my license this way. No one can just pull the plug on me, right? Because we were on a handshake deal. Our partnership was a handshake deal. It was a real estate agent that had been in the game for 4 years, and their best year was 100,000. And so I was like, listen, my goal's 1 million. Do you want to do this? This is what I can provide. I know the client cost of act like if I can spend $100 to get a client, and at the time, houses in our area, Kitchener, Waterloo, were maybe just about 550 or so. If I can get a client for $100 that can pay me 10,000, this is an amazing return on investment. Not to mention, if you love client service, the value of a lifelong client is amazing. So I just broke down this everything to him, and he said, "Let's do it." We shook hands. We built up. We were known in the area as like the best video. I want to say like every single person. I only know this because I had meetings with the top 3 guys in Kitchener, Waterloo, and they all knew the channel just from being everywhere. So I was like, okay, let's get my license. That way, in the future, if I do get a partnership, which is what I want, that I'll have no one can just pull the plug on me. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Makes sense. So I want to dive into that a bit. So, you clearly have a big focus on social and just providing valuable content. So what's your strategy online? Like, how do you look at social media for marketing and the benefit it provides? If you can talk about that.
Okay, so this is also going to take another turn. So I just love YouTube, right? I absolutely love YouTube. I love everything about it. I love the fact that it's a search engine opposed to feed. I love that people come to me. I love that if I hit up a bunch of major keywords, I will grow. It's that simple, organically. I'm not interrupting anyone's day. They've, to a certain extent, found me, right? And that's a portion of it. Of course, search is only about 27%. You do, once they subscribe, they will see you, right? But if you'd have told Callum Moore 4.5 years ago that he would be door knocking and cold calling, I would have said you're crazy. But the fact is, when you're in a seller's market, you have to talk to people that own homes. So you can run all the ads you want online. You could be the most successful social media agent to a certain extent if you're not established. Because, yeah, we're kind of talking about brand new here, right? Because I'm brand new. You're going to get a bunch of buyer leads, right? And we know about 35 to 40 times less valuable. So I do a mixture of both. We are social media, which is a beautiful thing, an absolute beautiful and a necessary thing for long-term growth. But voice-to-voice and face-to-face does trump all of that. So why I did it? So basically, I was like, okay, it's the pandemic. I lost that partnership. I love YouTube. I looked online and I'm like, the people that are talking about this Humber College real estate program are not good, if you know what I mean. There's people that should be teachers and there are people that shouldn't be teachers. Their attention to detail wasn't there. They weren't projecting themselves back to the moments. And I was like, I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to just document this journey to a certain extent. And that's where people started to gravitate towards me. And that's how it's grown. So it was a love for YouTube, if anything. And I have experience with a YouTube consumer channel that repurposes all over the web, obviously. And that's a beautiful thing. But in my particular case, my channel is actually directed towards real estate agents. So I don't repurpose that to the entire internet. I just basically stick it to YouTube with a little bit of posts on Instagram now and again.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was going to ask next. So the content on YouTube, sticking with YouTube, is primarily targeted to other real estate agents. Is that correct? My channel.
Your so channel. Not to a certain extent what I recommend, or of course I recommend it. Like if somebody wants to get into what I'm doing, let's say you're getting your real estate license. Every single person that reaches out to me that's getting the real estate license, I say, why don't you start a YouTube channel? Why don't you even just look at my channel and just make a few videos on your experiences with course 1 through 6, right? But then there's the consumer element, which is what I really recommend people do. I strongly recommend this. And then they can just look at the other channel that I have or that I built, because I still have access to it, obviously. That channel is directed towards consumers, which is community stuff, keywords that people search, like how to buy a home in 8 simple steps, right? First-time home buyer guides, all of the keywords you hit up for the first about 20, all the bangers. Then you move into moving tos, right? Just pick your local suburbs and move to moving to. That's where people will start to reach out to you. And I recommend this because just keep in mind you're going to get buyer leads, even still from these. Like, if people don't say it, everyone's like, grow a YouTube channel, and it's great. You're still going to get buyer leads. They're going to be people moving to the area, but they're going to love you. These are slam dunk buyer leads, and half the work's already done. They've watched multiple of your videos. Half the work of growing a communication, just them liking you to a certain extent, 50% is done. Now you just have to be yourself after that. So I do go again with the initial question. I usually like to come around. What was the initial question again?
The content on your YouTube channel.
Sure.
It's targeted
directed
primarily
towards agents.
To agents,
which is rare.
Okay.
Rare, yeah. So the other one, consumer basis, which I really recommend, but of course I recommend both. Just don't combine them.
Yeah.
Just don't combine them. I know people do it, but I suggest strongly against combining them.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes sense.
Okay, sweet.
So another question I have based on what you said. So you said face-to-face, voice-to-voice obviously trumps everything, in your opinion. So how were you able to do that during a pandemic and where everything's shut down?
Sure. There was only one small time where I didn't door knock, and that was when it was, 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, when it was really, really locked down. Door knock, 6 feet back. Not a single person ever was mean to me. Cold calling, obviously, people, that's nothing. It doesn't matter at all. That's the voice to voice. EXP Realty comes free with telelisting. I'm cold calling. I do this circle prospecting, cold calling in my areas, just providing value. The goal is never to be like, hey, do you want to sell your home? It is to tell them the area to a certain extent, what's happening in the area as far as sales wise. And if you're interested in taking advantage of the market to a certain extent, and at the very least, here's my business card. I send them digital business cards on the phone. I give them either a business card or a postcard in hand when I see them. And it's just to leverage. So you can run a million campaigns. You don't have to do what I'm about to say it, but it's to leverage buyer clients. Working with buyer clients as an entrepreneur brain does start to feel like a bit of a job, unless I'm prospecting while I'm doing it. So if you go an hour ahead of time to every showing you have and you door knock 25 down, 50 across, 25 back, well, it's like it's like multi-purpose, isn't it? I'm trying to get listings. I'm telling that I have like a whole script that I do about talking to people about the scenario that I'm in. Like, I'm showing a house in about an hour, but my buyers love me. My buyers tell their friends and family about. They have a real estate agent that goes around and finds out if the neighborhood's safe before I get there almost. And as well, of course, I'm doing it to get listings.
Love it. No, that's great.
Yes, if we go back. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I would have, the fact that you got your real estate license in October during a pandemic, during lockdowns where most social events and gatherings weren't really happening. But I would have guessed sort of the opposite, where all of your marketing and efforts would be focused online. So that's interesting. What percent would you say of your marketing, your focus is more on like that door knocking, that face-to-face, as opposed to like the online stuff, YouTube, Instagram, things like that?
So, and it's only because of this market. I want to say an amazing marketer has the ability to shift. And like I mentioned earlier, if you'd have told me that long ago, I wouldn't have done it. It would have been all Facebook ads. It would have been all Instagram ads with still 100% work. And they just do 99% generate you buyer leads. So it was percentage-wise for me at this moment, YouTube. So my YouTube channel, believe it or not, although it's not even directed towards the consumer, gets me investor leads. So I get a lot of investor leads, and a lot of percentage of those investor leads are people trying to get their real estate license. So it's pretty funny, but they just love me, and there's like, Callum, I'm looking at this, and this, and I still show them properties and leads I get from that. So I suggest during a seller's market, is what I tell people is to grow that YouTube channel so that you're not buying for or paying for buyer leads. They come to you, and you're growing a personal brand in the process, a great personal brand that can eventually turn into seller leads, of course. And then the other thing, you should be 100% focused on voice-to-voice and face-to-face. apart from that.
Okay.
So I guess if you go percentage-wise,
yeah, sorry, go
90,
percentage-wise.
90, 10, I guess.
Got it.
YouTube and social media is only 10% of the people that what I'm trying to get leads on from. Just because it's buyers. Yeah.
Okay. And do you do door knock and like cold calling every single day? Is that just part of your daily tasks?
5 days.
5 days
a week. I don't do Saturdays or Sundays. But
Okay.
you could do Saturdays. People could do Saturdays. Or you could do Sundays for a couple door knocking campaigns for sure. People wouldn't mind. Everyone's so friendly on those door knocking ones.
Nice. Okay, perfect. So, I want to dive into relationships. So I'm sure you'll agree that, building relationships in real estate is the ultimate key to success at the end of the day. So first off, like, how are you managing your database? You're door knocking, you're getting people's informations, YouTube, you're getting leads. So from the point of actually collecting someone's information, like how do you then manage that in your database? Like, how are you organizing them, etc.?
I do a monthly email, but I would say I would even do a weekly. Like, I would push to a weekly, and the only reason why, like, it's just some people are like, I don't want to bother my people too much, but it's only when it happens, and I can only say this because I'm not debating it over anything, but people I know that reach out to me and they fear because I have every single fear and pain point of a brand new real estate agent. Although I have this marketing background, guess what? I wasn't writing the contracts, I wasn't showing the homes, I wasn't doing this and that. So I have every single fear and pain point, and I do try to help them conquer it. And one of them is they don't want to bother the people they know, and they're like, should I do a separate this and should I do a separate that? But I really strongly suggest that you are now a real estate agent, and it's to a certain extent a bit more now your life.
Yeah. Okay, so you do a monthly email to just everyone in your database, essentially?
I don't do so. I know my sphere of influence, and it's probably about 50% of them. I know the other 50 that they know they're always they're always going to use me, and I do different emails to them specific to them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. For sure.
I even know what they're looking for and what they're not looking for. I see them so much and everything like that.
Got it. So, sort of expanding on that a bit. So, a lot of agents I meet and work with do actually a poor job of keeping in touch with, prospects, past clients, because there's no systematic way to do so, or they don't have a systematic way to do so. And a lot of their efforts end up being manual, which, as your database grows, you meet more people, that becomes difficult or impossible to manage. So, how are you managing the process of keeping in touch with contacts? You said you have 50 sphere of influence, another set of prospects. How are you keeping these relationships going, these touch points with contacts?
I suppose I do. There's a chance that what I'm doing could be better. Oh yeah, let's say in your mind right now, this is kind of you might even specialize in what you're even suggesting, or something. You might even you might know exactly. I want to say that I keep my top 5 to 10 people that I know might be doing stuff at top of mind, and everyone else is a little bit lower than that. So let's say if there's someone that I've talked to even a year ago, I have this lady that I talked to a year ago, she's still top of mind just from how that conversation went. But let's say 1 year ago where the conversation went okay, and I do have their email address and they do know who I am, maybe that person isn't getting the best touches that aren't just that monthly email that they might not open, if that's what you mean. Yeah. So there's a chance that if you have I guess I only know this because we had a CRM, but the A to D or whatever people call it. I think there's value, and I think that in the CD area that I could be getting better at.
Okay, I got you.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So the 5 to 10, you say that you keep top of mind. How do you do that exactly? What are you doing with them?
I suppose being organized. So in KV Core, I can organize. I do notes. I take 1 million notes every day, and if you go my lifestyle, my mindset, my schedule that's very easy for me to do. Every single night, I have the schedule lined up. I'm up every morning at 3:53, and and I have like all my morning. So all my work, a lot of my work in organization and learning happens before people are up. So about like 8:30 before you can be contacted. So all of that structure and all of that organization is very easy to me, and who I'm going to and when I'm going to contact them, it's all just written down to a certain extent in my notes. Maybe I could automate this a bit more. Like I'm a brand new agent. Like you said, this might get very difficult to do what I'm doing in my organization process without automating this a little bit more than I do. Maybe I'm too personal touches on a lot of these, but right now, like I'm sure like there's people listening to this that have hundreds. I have 5 to 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
for sure.
I can handle that. I could probably handle 100, but on my thing.
Yeah. Makes sense. So shifting gears slightly. So what about the actual like sale itself, the transaction? At the end of the day, you have to deliver for your buyers, your sellers. So what are some of the things you do to differentiate, let's say, your listings from the dozens, if not hundreds of other listings in your community in order to get top dollar?
It's interesting. So let's say that I obviously feel I run Facebook ads a bit better. Like let's say 2 years ago I had a significantly better ability, as in I could target people that I've like visualized an avatar of a group of people that could be purchasing this home, and I could actually target them quite in depth. I would do a broad targeting, and I would do a very detailed targeting. So let's say I can't do that. I still run the Facebook ads, obviously. I still make sure I pay the guy that does me right now. His name's Rob. He does all my video, my drone, my pictures, and they're fantastic. Okay. So then I hit the streets. Because we know how it works. 90% is realtor.ca in our gorgeous area. 10% is our unique selling proposition. And my unique selling proposition is that for 3 years, real estate agents would pay me to do, like they should hire me to market their home because of the amount of exposure that I can do for it. But I also hit the streets because I just want to. I want to leverage the possibility of that listing turning into multiple listings, and it's a dual purpose. Those agents or my clients love that I'm doing that, so I hit the streets big time as well. I want to say I'm so interested in everything that like for instance my new property just went up. I didn't use the front of the house. Like I'm bold to a certain extent in ways that I know it's about 1 in 100 and 1 in 120, 1 in 160 or so don't use the front, and I'll just, if I feel it's not worth it, I won't use the front. So like I think I'm confident enough to be aggressive, if that makes any sense. I don't go with the flow.
Okay. I'm curious to hear more about, you said, 10% of your USP is like the marketing side. So what exactly do you do on the marketing side, aside from like the typical like flyers and brochures and all that, anything?
So I repurpose the videos into vertical. I make sure that they make sense on Instagram. I make sure they make sense on Facebook, because I know these guys do a good job going through the house and videoing and everything, but I have to make it better, in my opinion. So I actually cut it. I edit it. I add graphics and stuff, just because my background has the ability to do that. Like I don't just take someone's video and put it up on Facebook. Like if my guy gives me a 4-minute video and I'm like, this is too big. This is too big for what I want, and I make it the exact size I want. But I'm not willing to go through the house and do all the video, but I can edit it beautifully. So, and then it's just a matter of who I'm targeting. You know what? Depends on the house. One of the properties I just sold went for $1,025,000. This was hard into Toronto. Right? Like I wanted people coming, and the timing of when I was going to put it up to make sure they could all get through it. And then my other property right now is $599 holding offers, different targeting, right? I believe it or not, I targeted real estate agents. Nobody does this. And I targeted real estate agents saying, if you have clients in this price range, you do not want to miss this, because it is it has everything a nice science bungalow wants. And I do that type of stuff, which is, I don't know if it's different. I know I watched people not run Facebook ads you have the ability to see who's running what on Facebook. I don't know if you knew that. So you could see the top producing agents and how much they're doing and how much they're not doing, unless they're running it from a third party website, which you would never want to do to grow a brand. They're just not doing.
That's a good idea. I never heard of that one before. At least, like maybe I don't know if I'm not a realtor, so I'm not targeted. But do a lot of realtors target other realtors for in that sense?
I suppose they might in a different way. I've never heard of people doing what I just did. I'm really realtor community based. Like there's abundance mindset. We're not by, maybe when I was over at our previous brokerage, it felt like a competition, but it does not feel like a competition at my brokerage I'm at. So if anything, I want these real estate agents to know how amazing this place is, and I know how it feels to have a buyer looking for a place that you're showing 35 homes to, and if I have something that could help, I do want to get it to them. It's so more of it in just a value sense. In a value sense, as far as like I know I'm helping my clients obviously, but in a value sense, I kind of want to get through to those people in a different in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think it pops for them. Let's say if they're so used to seeing, oh, my new listing, come check it out. Mine's like attention realtors,
Yeah.
and I put like no private showings. Contact your realtor is what I put. Like I know that you like. I'm not out to double end. Like I'm out to like this is a small percentage. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm out to make real estate agents very happy, and I want to work with them because together we have to sell a property.
I like that. Great idea. I want to touch on the relationship part again. So, like in your day, you seem like a very, process driven, organized in your day. How much of your attention is focused on like new contacts, new prospects versus like the relationships with your existing database, keeping in touch with your top people, things like that?
I want to say that you could build $1 million business a year on 3 hours a day, new, every day or 5 days a week. Yeah, and then every single other moment, to a certain extent, making sure you're working with your clients. 3 hours might even be too much for some people. They're like, I'm never going to be able to do 3 hours of prospecting every day. I'm too busy. Not to mention when real estate agents get busy, they now think that's the job. Like the job is only the future. So you just have to stay crazy consistent. My nurturing an existing relationship into multiple referral type, like I know you have Buffini, his whole thing's referral, nurture the people you have. Maybe I lean more towards more, if you had to compare me to another real estate agent, prospecting for new. I might lean more in the favor for prospecting for new, opposed to complete nurturing. Of course, that's huge. You build $1 million businesses with Buffini's whatever referral stuff for sure. But I think just what I like. Maybe it's more what I like, and I think I like to prospect. It just works well with my brain. But not like they know, like the people that I have, they know that I'm there for them.
Yeah. So for the newer agents listening to this now, so you've been a realtor now 9 months, 2.7 million so far in just over 9 months. You're going for 5 million in the year.
Four, but five converts. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just basically rough numbers, estimates. So 2.7, given the market you're in, maybe like, I don't know, 3 to 5 deals per year that you've done so far. Is that about right?
Exactly.
So from day one, you got your license. Like, what did it take to land that first client? Like, what was that process like?
Well, so I wish I didn't do this. So my girlfriend's Australian, so she hates winter. And of course, during this pandemic, we've never spent a single winter in Canada. So we couldn't go to Australia. We always disappear for 3 months. 9 months of the year we're in Ontario, here in Kitchener, and 3 months of the year we're in Australia. We couldn't go, so we went to Mexico. So during that time when I was in Mexico, I didn't do that. Basically, I got my license in November, and while I was in Mexico, I was just like setting everything up, still contacting everyone that joined with me, still doing YouTube, obviously. I cold called for Mexico as well. I utilized people in my area, because once you get sponsors and everything, you can have like EXP agents everywhere. So I utilized people in the area to go to a couple listings for me that I had produced from online sales. But maybe if I was going hardcore at the beginning, it wouldn't have been so long. But my first sale, November 1st, my first sale we came back, it was right away. I did it from COVID. I did it from quarantine. What was it? We came back January, February, March 1st, March 5th. And if you count the other, so 4 months, 5 days, first sale. 3 months in Mexico though, so like take away that. Mine's a different story.
Yeah. So was this someone you knew? Was it someone in your already sphere of influence, or was it someone
Sphere of
new?
influence, yeah,
Yeah.
sphere of influence. But it was a buy sphere of influence, and I never showed the property. I did a bunch of research on obviously and did all the CMA, but I actually never showed the
Yeah.
property.
Okay. Very good. Um, do you do you have any? I know you're still new in the game, but based on the deals you've done so far, any experiences or stories of deals that didn't really go as planned, maybe unique in their own way, obstacles you had to overcome. Anything you can
Oh,
share?
100%, 100%. I feel my goal could have been set already, but the thing is, you can't, you cannot. It's such a long-term game. Such a long-term game. I'm in real estate for life, and it's like so two deals that fell through, very similar deals, and it was to do with COVID. It was crazy. I think it's crazy this happened. It was both the job changes at the last second. It was basically things were set up. It was either I'm not going to do this job, as one stayed at home and didn't want to continue on with their job, and one just hated their job now. It was very weird that it happened to be two job ones. But those people will eventually, you know what I mean? Those are two listings. They're eventually going to happen, but you can't. You have to just move on, right? They know I'm here for them. They're eventually going to sell, but it's probably going to be a year, and it might be more beneficial for everyone. Who knows? I know the market's high, but and I do encourage to just go with what's best for you. Don't try to like stress. Don't try to stress for them, and don't try to stress as a real estate agent because like I know I put these huge goals on myself, and but you can't pull your hair out when you
Yeah,
lose these deals.
for sure, for sure. Um, so if you had to really narrow it down to one piece of advice to, let's say, either a brand new agent or just an agent that's really looking to level up their game, what would that one piece of advice be?
You will be insanely surprised at how fun and awesome your life is if you start doing video on YouTube. It will just be so much more fun. It will just be like the people that reach out to you will like you because the people that don't reach out to you didn't like you. And you only need, if you're like, my video only got 60 views. 60 views from the right people is amazing. Like
Yeah,
you're so hyper local. Like you're in Oakville, it would just be moving to Oakville. It would be like the suburbs, like down to like the little like, suburbs about this stuff. And guess what? If you're doing a video on a suburb and people watch it from start to finish, and you can check this if you're running it on Facebook ads and stuff. If somebody's watched over 75% of a video on like a suburb in Oakville, that person likes you or they liked what they saw. So
yeah,
you don't need a million views. If you look at Callum Moore that has only 5,200 subscribers, of course that's fantastic within a year. But if you only have 300 or something and you're still getting 60 or plus views, those views are hyper local. Do not go broad. Don't be like how to be a real estate agent. Just be so crazy niche down. And those are the people that all you need. Real estate, believe it or not, is niche down. Like I know some people can go worldwide or whatever, but like realistically, it's so super small area. Start a YouTube channel, and you can start a YouTube channel like I did too. Start a YouTube channel that somehow happens to help real estate agents, and then that turns into something awesome. And then do a separate one that helps consumer. Like it's a beautiful thing when people search for your content, and you only need one or two people to love you of those 100 that view it.
yeah. I love that. Great advice. Stay niche, localized. Perfect. Callum, I do want to be mindful of your time. I do end off each chat with what I call the top three. Some heavy hitters here. You ready?
Okay, all right.
I'm kidding. So, number one, the most impactful book you've read.
You know what? To tell the truth, a person like me that just loves video, it's been a long time, but I know that when I cared about books, I remember walking to bookstores and just be like, it was mindset stuff, right, for me.
Yeah.
Because in 2017, I want to say you had to do it takes a little bit to get the mindset down, but once you get the mindset down, I just need small re-upping of it, if you know what I mean. So I don't need that much, but that mindset stuff at the beginning did make some big strides for me. Like there's like the Earl Nightingale type stuff online, the old school guys that just really clicked for me. Even believe it or not, some of that Tony Robbins stuff, like when that one book that he had. So I didn't read his old stuff. Obviously, I just like, okay, this one's new. Let's just go with the most modern thing he's saying. And I went with I can't remember the name of it. It's a nice black and gold cover. It's a thick book. He interviews Ray Dalio. There's a genius. How about we just go straight to Ray Dalio? If anyone's watching this, just bypass everyone. You have a billionaire that is now given back to the world. It's insane value. So I think he did Principles. I didn't read it.
Yeah.
I didn't read it. I do have it. I didn't read it because I don't read books that much anymore. But Principles, I'd assume that's epic. Now I just follow him. He's a great Twitter follow for sure. Stays exactly in his niche. And it's like his stuff is mindset too, but it's like business mindset and just how 2 or 3 people or a group of people can grow together if they're all on the same page. And just like, I think one of his big things is just like, in all the mistakes is like, you have to like make sure what you're listening, you just don't be hypercritical or he has some phrase. It's so epic, but yeah, those two, I'll leave it at Dalio. Dalio for sure.
Perfect.
Do you know him? Do you follow a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 2, your favorite vacation spot.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I suppose it has to be, oh man, because we live there so much, but it's just so gorgeous. The Gold Coast in Australia. Yeah. It's just so beautiful that I have to say, like, there's areas like this Currumbin area that you wouldn't even believe it's like jungle. You basically drive through a jungle and then you get to the beach. Wow. So I got to say there, but we do visit there very often. I dig Mexico as well. We were just in Playa del Carmen for the first time. Absolutely loved it. Met a lot of awesome people even during the pandemic. But we love Mexican food, so maybe something like that. But got to be the Gold Coast, got to be Australia, and specifically Currumbin, if people can search that.
Awesome. Very good. Never been, but definitely on my list there.
It's a far flight. You might have to wait a little bit for that one.
For sure. And lastly, Callum, if you can go back 9 months ago, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you were just starting out in your real estate career, if anything?
I want to say it's weird. It's weird how my mindset, where even when you say that, there's almost nothing because like they're all kind of just amazing experiences. So that like if I were to like, my brain doesn't think like that. It's weird. It's just like an error almost. They were all great. Like I want to say what I chose to do. It's just I took a ton of action. So I already took a ton of action. Like started the channel right away. I knew I had a focus. I have like a big goal, and I just basically took action. I want to say it. By no means am I flawless. That's a weird thing to say, but I don't. I think that if I had to change anything, I was going to say maybe look for another partner, but my girlfriend doesn't want me to look for another partner yet.
All right, very good. No, I get it. Makes sense. If someone wanted to learn more, reach out, where's the best place to get a hold of you?
I want to say email or Instagram. Callum Moore KW @gmail.com. KW is Kitchener Waterloo, not the brokerage. And Callum Moore Callum Moore KW. And I think YouTube, of course. Callum Moore. I'm ranking so far for. You could search Humber College Real Estate. You could search Callum Moore. I rank on YouTube for everything. On the topics.
Perfect. Amazing. Callum, thank you so much. Really do appreciate the time taking out of your day to speak with me. I know a lot of people listening are certainly going to get a lot of value, so I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. And I really hope so too. Yeah, I try to keep it interesting, try to keep it real.
Definitely. And hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Oh, I'd love to, man.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Thanks again. All the best.
Okay. Have a good one. Thanks.